Partly cloudy with a few showers clearing this morning, fresh southerlies as well. Tomorrow fine, southerlies easing in the evening, a high of 16, and ahead to Wednesday, another fine day. Today's high 18 currently. We're sitting on 14 degrees here at News Talk ZB.
New Zealand's voice of reason is Mike. The Mike Hosking Breakfast with Arvida Retirement Communities. Life your way. News Talk ZB.
23 minutes away from 8. Andrew and Jason after 8 with the sport, of course. Meantime, on a Monday morning, the Prime Minister's in the studio. Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Mike.
Now, you won't remember this, and I'm not here to embarrass you, but Bill's written to me, and Bill and his wife were celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. Mm-hmm. And they said they couldn't believe all the cards they got. They got one from their local MP personally signed. Mm-hmm. They got one from you. Do you remember writing Bill's card?
I have a system in place for 60th wedding anniversary.
How many 60th wedding anniversary cards would you write?
Oh, I don't know. But
I mean, are you snowed under or?
No. I mean, there's not that many people that make 60 years, to be honest, Mike, in this day and age.
That's what I'm asking. So you do. There is a system in place.
There's
for
a system
60.
in place for 60.
Okay. And the king wrote to them.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it?
Isn't it nice?
Isn't it lovely? If you're going to do 60 years of marriage, I think that's something worth celebrating.
Couldn't agree more. New Zealand First are seeking changes to the Regulatory Standards Bill because New Zealand First has got problems. True or not?
Well, I mean, they've got some issues, but that will be flushed out through a select committee process. I mean, if you take a step back, this bill's about making sure we do decent, good lawmaking and more transparency about bad lawmaking in particular. It's pretty complex legislation, a bit like the fast track bill, and it will benefit, frankly, from going through. I'm
glad you said it's complex. I heard David Seymour do an interview once on it, and I was bamboozled by what he's trying to achieve. Outside of the broad, it will be more efficient, is it? Do you understand?
Well, that's the point, is we want to make sure it doesn't drive increased bureaucracy. It's actually got to be a much simpler way to say, look, if you're making new laws as a minister, you've got to make sure that it actually does work, that you're not, and as a result, the system that checks that, we want that to be pretty tip-top shape. So, so David's got, the idea is more transparency in the regulations.
But is there an ideological scrap between Winston and David on this?
No, it's just making sure it's the devil's in the detail on this one, and it's no different from fast track. If you remember how we started that one off, and then we ended up creating panels and a bunch of different things that's similar to this one.
Okay, Nick Stewart, who is a financial advisor, I'm reading over the weekend the case for full expensing of capital expenditure. Having read the article, it does make sense. Is there any possibility, either in the budget or generally, that we can full expense capital expenditure and therefore drive the economy?
We'll talk more about that, obviously, in the budget in a few days.
So there's something in the budget,
well, you never know. We'll talk about the budget in a few days, yeah. But what I just say is that idea is not an unattractive idea, because if essentially, Mike, if you look at the small, medium enterprises in New Zealand, the top 10% are 7 times more productive than the bottom 10%, and a lot of it's to do with their adoption of capital and plant and equipment and automation and all that good stuff. So I've got a lot of sympathy for that, but we'll have to wait to the budget.
So much sympathy we might be able to hear something on Thursday. That's exciting.
I know you're so good at this, Mike. You're trying to get a scoop on the budget.
I'm just pleased you're positive about it. Stephen Joyce's piece in the Herald over the weekend. Did you happen to read that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so does he have an argument? I'm not sure he has an argument. He's talking about the productivity of Fonterra's production side at a time when butter and etc. is through the roof. Do we know if Fonterra are any good at what they do, or is it?
Oh, I think they're pretty good.
Do you know that?
Well, I mean, when I look at their relative global performance, they've done a very good job, particularly in the last 6 years or so, 5 years or so. I think there was a period in time, frankly, where I think they lost it and lost a lot of ground against their global competitors. But I just say to you, when you're offshore, I'm really... I think Fonterra's got the right strategy. They're going for high margin products. I was in Korea. They make an ambient whipping cream sold to Korean bakers. Now, everyone listening to that goes, oh, whoop-de-doo. Well, actually, bakers and cakes in Korea are a freaking big market.
Yes, they are.
And actually doing it that way, they get higher margin. That comes back to their farmers than doing consumer goods business, for example. So I think Fonterra's had a really good strategy to enhance margin so they can get returns back to farmers.
The Marification of New Zealand. So the Tikanga lead story, this was MFAT. This was Winston Peters getting upset about a Tikanga league type job. Let me quote you this, his comments, Peter's comments, and subsequent requests to MFAT for a response by political reporters set off a flurry of emails and messages between the most senior staff at the agency. I would have thought they had better things to do with their time, be that as it may, who appeared to be unaware the job fell foul of Peter's expectations. How do senior bureaucrats not understand that they're working for a government that have spoken very clearly on the Maorification of this country.
Well, where we see it, we call it out. I mean,
are they asleep?
Well, I mean, Winston's obviously called it out very strongly, which is important. You've seen it also. We had a situation with Te Reo stop-go signs, for example, recently as well. And where we see it, we actually we say, look, that's not appropriate. We don't want. We need the stop-go signs to be really unambiguous and very clearly producing. The same thing here. We want everybody in the public service focused on delivery, focused on results, and not lots of resources tied up in things that isn't in the core business. How is it still
happening? How come it's still happening? How come somebody somewhere goes, I tell you what, I'm going to make a Maori road sign?
Yeah, well,
I mean, they're taking the piss, aren't they?
Well, we're a new government. We've been very clear.
No, you're not. You've been here for a year and a half.
No, we've been there a year and a half. I get it, but we want to run things differently from the previous administration. That's taking some people some time to understand that. Where it comes out and they get it wrong, we're very quick to clamp it down on it and to say that's got to change. Get back to what the program is, which is delivery.
Let's get back to the budget without giving it away. I get all of that. The money you announced, Nicola Willis on Friday has hundreds of millions of dollars for the film industry. Fantastic. You've got money yesterday for urgent. Where's it all coming from?
Well, that'll be revealed on the budget.
I know,
Thursday.
but give us a clue.
I'm just saying
we don't have any money.
Well, we have said very clearly that we think we can invest in economic growth. We think we can invest in health and education, transport and infrastructure. Wait till you see the fiscal plan, and it will be all revealed at that point.
It's either borrowed or you've got it from somewhere. Which is it?
Well, again, I'm not going to get into
Why
that.
can't you give us that part?
Well, not because we're going to. But it's budget sensitive. We'll wait for.
What's budget sensitive about something as broad as we've got the cash or we're borrowing?
Well, as I said to you, it's within our fiscal track and what we've set ourselves up and the rules that we're trying to do, work towards. It'll be revealed on Thursday. We need to be able to do it in one comprehensive thing, so you can see the total fiscal picture of what we're dealing with and how we're funding it.
But it seems an extraordinary amount of money.
Well, we are. We're making some serious investments in some key places.
Yeah, I know you're making investments, but I want to know where you're getting the dough from.
And that will be revealed on Thursday.
Because if you're borrowing it, I'm not going to be happy next week.
Well, that's fine. We'll have that conversation next week.
Will we? So you are borrowing?
No, I'm not saying we're borrowing, but I'm not going to give you anything on this. I know it's going to be a very frustrating interview for your listeners.
All right.
He's so good. Can I just say to all the people listening here, I mean, he tries to weasel it out of me, but we've got to wait till Thursday because I've got to show you the whole financial set in the frame.
Okay, so reassure me once again that it will make sense in a way that perhaps a conservative like me that doesn't like debt can understand.
Yep. So we have a problem with debt, as you well know. We've had a threefold increase in debt from $60 to $180 billion. The cost on the budget now on the interest bill on that alone has gone from $3 to $9 billion and rising. It's about $60,000 for every household in New Zealand, $22,000 extra that's been added on to every Kiwi, and we've got nothing to show for it because basically debt's good if you're borrowing for productivity enhancing stuff, infrastructure,
only to
things
a
like
point.
That. To a point, but there's good stuff there. In this case, we didn't do that. The last administration ran it up on the credit card and for daily living expenses. And that's why we've got nothing to show with better schools, hospitals or roads. We've got to change that course. We've got to find a pathway to get ourselves to a surplus because that's important so that we've got future capacity should something befall New Zealand that we can deal with that issue. And we've got to get in shape. And that's why things like the Greens idea of more taxes, more borrowing, you're hearing it from Hipkins as well.
Thomas Coughlin's piece over the weekend on
I did, yeah.
Nurses? A pay cut.
Yes, under the Greens
budget.
Yeah, and it's and we've done a lot of work to actually lift nurse pay. I mean, it's $126,000, including allowances, equal to pretty much what they get in New South Wales, which is a lot wealthier. But I mean, that was just an absolute craziness and madness. But actually, Labor's no better. They want to borrow more, tax more, spend more. That's exactly where it is. We have to find a balanced responsibility to get the books back in order onto a pathway, but also make investments and also continue to reprioritise and make savings too.
Okay, a couple of quick things out of last week. Is Jerry Brownlee letting the House down with that Privileges Committee response that he gave to the House last week? Everyone gets to speak. Everyone gets to have an amendment. Everyone gets to speak to the amendment. I mean, what's that if it's not stored?
Well, that is actually protocol, and that those are, as I understand it, standing orders and rules in the House. The bigger issue is that we discuss sensitive and difficult and emotional topics in that place. The Māori Party are not getting penalised for waiata and for haka. That happens a lot. They're getting penalised for breaking the rules, getting out of your seat, gestures, disrupting a vote, all of that kind of stuff, and then not engaging with the Privileges Committee. We need MPs are sent there by the people of New Zealand. They need to respect the rules of the place because otherwise it just devolves into absolute chaos.
Was last week a new low?
Well, it wasn't great. I mean, because I don't like it because actually, you got MPs talking about themselves and parliamentarians talking about themselves, and actually I try and stay above that fray because I want to focus on what New Zealanders need us to do. And at the moment, they want us dealing with growing this economy and dealing with the cost of living.
Explain the logic of this to me. So there's an article in the paper over the weekend in One Roof. There's a penthouse for sale downtown Auckland for $17 million. It's been on the market for years. Now, no one here wants it, clearly. Why can't somebody...
You're not buying
it? Why can't somebody from offshore buy it?
Well, I mean, you know our position on that.
I do know that.
The National Party has a strong view that you should be able to buy.
Have you made any progress with Peters at all on this? And if you haven't, why don't you call them out?
Well, again, we still have a conversation going with it. I know that's not the answer you want to hear because you give me grief on this each and every time. But
if you're looking to pull every lever you can to get this economy going,
yep,
surely that is a lever you can pull.
That's one of the levers.
Welcome to New Zealand. Have a golden visa.
Yep.
And by the way, there's a penthouse there for yours for for £9 million. Snap it up.
I think we probably got the cap too low last time when we went to the election campaign. We said it was $2 million. Mm-hmm. I think you could lift that quite reasonably to 5 or 6.
Have you in your negotiations?
Sorry?
Have you in your negotiations lifted it to 5 or 6? And would you be looking to make an announcement on this sometime soon?
I'm not sure we will. We've got a bit of work to do.
So you're losing. So Peters is beating you up on this.
No. Well, I mean, let's be clear. We've got 2 issues. One is extending the superannuation age to 67, which I think also makes great sense, and given the Kiwis are living longer, but that's not palatable to Labor and or New Zealand First. And we've had an issue with respect to foreign buyer ban. I just think if you're a chief technology officer from San Francisco and you want to spend some of your months here in New Zealand because you've got an investment in a tech company here that's helping New Zealanders grow,
yes,
then you should be able to do that.
Yes, you should. Why can't Peters understand that? Is he xenophobic? Is that the problem?
Well, I don't know. I mean, he's got a long-standing position. He just has been against it. We are in conversation with him and his office, as we've been doing. Our proposal is to lift the threshold a lot more. We think that would be important.
Right.
Ultimately, it's something we've got to work through.
Okay.
You don't always get what you want in a coalition government, right?
Well, you would if I was running it.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
Have a good budget. Appreciate it. 12 minutes away from 8.
Beyond Necessary is where true craftsmanship begins, where innovation meets artistry and every detail is refined to perfection. Beyond Necessary lies the extraordinary, and just beyond the bridge is Lexus of North Shore. More than just a destination,